Hey, this is Wild West Frontier Channel. If you enjoy raw, heartfelt frontier stories, hit subscribe. It makes a world of difference. Now, let's step into the day's tale. The first time Elias Marlowe laid eyes on the two women, they were framed in the doorway of a weather-worn saloon as if they commanded the whole night. Dust curled in the breeze, carrying the scent of sagebrush and gun oil, and the entire town of Brimstone seemed to be holding its breath. The taller one moved first, Lydia Vale. Her black hair tumbled in loose waves, catching the last scraps of sunlight, a faded ribbon barely keeping it back. The burgundy dress she wore had been patched too many times to count, its ragged hem brushing her boots, clinging to her figure with a stubborn kind of elegance. Her eyes, dark and guarded, held the weight of someone who'd learned the rules of survival in a world that didn't welcome her. Beside her leaned Cora Lane, shorter but no less striking, strands of copper hair curling around her sharp cheekbones, the rest gathered loosely at the nape of her neck. Her cream blouse, worn thin, gaped slightly at the collar, teasing the line of her collarbone. Her green eyes held a spark, half challenge, half invitation. She shifted her weight against the doorframe in a slow, lazy way, but Elias could tell beneath that ease she was wound tight as a spring. The saloon itself looked ready to fall apart with one hard gust. Its faded sign rocked on rusty hinges, the wooden siding split and silvered by years of sun. But the air around it felt dangerous, not from bandits, but from the tension between these two women and whatever trouble was about to come riding into town. Elias Marlowe swung down from his horse, the animal so gaunt its ribs showed clear. 3 days since he'd eaten more than a stale biscuit. His coat was too thin for the evening cold. In his pocket, 3 lonely coins rattled like a cruel joke. He had no reason to stop. Years of drifting had taught him to move on, but something in the way Lydia and Cora watched him made his boots keep heading for the saloon steps. "You've got the look of a man running from something," Lydia said, her voice smooth and low, laced with just enough sweetness to be dangerous. Cora's lips curled faintly. "Folks don't wander into Brimstone unless they are desperate," she added, eyes sweeping over him, measuring. "Just looking for a meal," Elias rasped, his voice rough from disuse. "Maybe a bed for the night." His tone was meant to push them away. He knew women like this, beautiful, sharp, and cornered, often carried trouble, and trouble was something he'd sworn never to take on again. But the quiet calculation in Lydia's smile, and the way Cora's gaze didn't blink, told him they weren't done with him yet. Then, crack, a rifle shot toward the air. Elias's mare flinched against the hitching post. From the swinging doors behind the women boasted a boy no older than 10, clutching a wooden toy gun. His face was pale under the dust. "Miss Lydia, Miss Cora," he panted. "It's Drake. He's got the sheriff with him." The women's faces hardened instantly. Lydia's warmth sharpened to steel. Cora's relaxed stance straightened into readiness. Elias had seen that look before, years ago, just before men reached for their guns. Inside, the air was stale, lamplight flickering across warped boards. Lydia stepped ahead, her skirt brushing her boots, the scent of jasmine and smoke wrapping around Elias in the narrow space. Cora leaned on the bar with one arm, posture loose but eyes alert, copper hair catching the light. "You didn't walk away," Cora murmured, voice low. "Most men would have." "I'm not most men," Elias said evenly, hunger gnawing at him but keeping his distance. "That man you heard about," Lydia said, resting her hand on the boy's shoulder, "owns most of this town. He wants this place too." "The sheriff's bought and paid for," Cora added. "Law says 2 unmarried women can't hold property here. We need a man's name on paper if we're going to keep it." Before Elias could reply, the doors banged open. A man strode in, wearing a fine tailored suit too rich for Brimstone. His hair was slick, his eyes sharp with greed. Drake. Behind him, the sheriff hovered, hand close to his gun. "Looks like my timing's perfect," Drake drawled, eyes roaming over Lydia, then settling on Cora's stance. Elias stepped forward before thinking, putting himself between them and Drake's measuring gaze. His past flashed unbidden, a ranch burned to ash, a grave on a lonely hill, and the empty years after. "State your business," Elias said, voice steady. "You've got 1 day," Drake sneered. "Hand over this place or I'll take it myself. And if I do, it won't be standing when I'm done." "This is my fight now," Elias answered, surprising himself. Lydia moved closer, her hand brushing his arm, her breath warm on his sleeve. "You're not alone," she whispered. Cora's voice was firm. "We stand together." Drake's eyes flicked between them, and for the first time, Elias saw hesitation. By morning, the whole of Brimstone was watching. Elias stood in the dirt street, boots planted. Lydia stepped beside him, dark hair lifting in the wind, her dress hugging her like it was made for battle. Cora joined his other side, auburn hair spilling over her shoulders, eyes locked on Drake and the 6-armed men at his back. "This place stays ours," Elias called out for all to hear. "If you want it, you go through me." Faces appeared at windows. Townsfolk who'd been quiet too long began stepping forward, their murmurs rising. A woman joined Elias, then a man, then another. The movement spread. Drake's smirk cracked. The sheriff's hand drifted away from his holster. "This isn't over." Drake spat, retreating. His men followed. On the saloon porch that evening, the boards creaked under their weight. The boy sat beside Elias, toy gun in his lap. Lydia leaned against a post, her eyes meeting his with something unspoken. Cora stood near, arms folded, her expression softer than before. Elias knew the truth. He'd arrived with nothing but 3 coins and an empty stomach. But hey, in this dusty little town, he'd found something worth defending. Not just a building. A family.